Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Stokastic.com MLB strategy show, live before lock. Call it what you will, doesn't matter. We got another early slate today. We should be excited about that. Why? Stokastic avatars just happen to be all year crushing these early slates. Yesterday had some nice wins. I intend on us running it back again today. So glad to have you here. As always, if you don't mind, take a single second out of this morning and atone for your sins. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. All of that goes a very long way in helping me with this show. And I will say, greatly appreciative for you guys supporting this throughout the season. Running it solo. We're doing it by myself. Wasn't sure how this would turn out, but you guys have been awesome. And I appreciate that. It does not go unnoticed. I promise you as much. But hey, it's free to hit that thumbs up and to subscribe. Even if you're not a premium sub over at Stokastic, no big deal. Leave a comment down below. I try and read and respond to all of them. At the very least, read all of them. But yeah, 3 games today. Shouldn't be the longest show we've ever done by any stretch. Yesterday, we went almost an hour with 7 games. But boy, did that pay off, huh? That Cleveland stack was clutch for us. If you looked at the Sims runs, we were getting massive amounts of Cleveland. And my God, that worked out well. You know, when I ended up rerunning the Sims, at the end, when all was said and done, my 3 most exposed pitchers were Spencer Schwellenbach, Ben Brown. That didn't go as planned, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter unless you're playing like 100% Ben Brown. Then in that case, you're screwed. And Eduardo Rodriguez, who actually, you know what? That scared us. It was a little bit concerning. I think he went, 6 innings, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts, and got the win. Perfectly okay start on a slate like that. Jameson said Rodriguez was crap yesterday. No, he wasn't crap, was he? Didn't he go 6 innings, 2 earned? Hold on. He had to have had Brown sucked. I refuse to atone for Ben Brown. Oh, because our other highest owned pitcher was Jesus Luzardo. So 3 of our 4 ended up being solid. Ended up being real solid. But yeah, I mean, look, I'll atone to make you feel better. Sure. A pitcher who was underpriced has a 28% K rate, ended up not having a great game. As a matter of fact, he had a pretty bad game. But, you know, you're not going to get them all. And in fairness, if you had played, like, say you're playing the mini max or the 20 max, like $4, or you're maxing the 15, I ended up, I think, with like 40% Ben Brown, which means 60% of my lineups didn't have him. I had a good day. Hopefully you guys did as well. I know my friend Elway's Army did. I'll tell you about that in a second. But yeah, I thought he was fine. What did he finish? He finished with 20 yesterday. How are we saying Rodriguez was bad? Unless we're talking about another Rodriguez. 20 at that price point? What was he, like 72, 7,300? Nothing wrong with that. Marquee Sports, like the perfect lineup show. Thanks, man. Josh is going solo on that today because we didn't have projections updated in time, but we'll be back tomorrow doing some giveaways on that as well. Only one person got the right top stack yesterday, which means they're not even in a lottery or a drawing to get the free week of the Sims. They just got it. But yeah, let's get into it. Anthony, great call on Luzardo yesterday. Yeah, like I said, dude, there were some really encouraging spots and there were some concerning spots. The concerning spots are like, does it mess with his head? The encouraging spot is if he knows he's tipping his pitches and we get back to the Luzardo that we saw earlier in the year, this guy's going to dominate. And my God, he dominated. 6 innings, 1 run, double-digit strikeouts. Great stuff. So, look, we're not going to hit on everything, but I'd say all in all, had you run the Sims yesterday, my dumbass actually tamped down Cleveland a little bit. I ended up getting 35%. The Sims wanted me getting 50%. I should have held pat. But if you ran a lot of lineups using the Sims, doesn't matter if it's the mini max, the quarter arcade, the main 15, you should have had a pretty good day if you didn't make too many tweaks to work against yourself, you know? So let's get into it. But shout out to our boy, Dave Oliver. I love this guy. He's crushed with the Sims. Took down the mini max yesterday with the Stokastic avatar. He beat me out. I came in 4th in that. beat me up. Look at that score too. Like, what a huge separation between fourth and first. But the key was Luzardo and Schwellenbach with a Cleveland stack. If you had that yesterday, you were in good shape. And I know the Sims were spitting out a ton of that, but shout out to Elway's Army. Stokastic avatars were littered across the leaderboards on the early slate. I didn't play the main slate, so I don't know what that looks like, but hopefully some of you guys had a good day. Let's get into it. And as I said, if you don't mind, hit that thumbs up before we get started. Let's make it happen. So 3 games, not a ton of wild stuff happening in this one because you only have 3 games. We can take a look at the totals first, and then we'll dig into our exposures within the Sims. But you have Kodai Senga against Washington. They have a slate low 3.7 total. Now, Bailey Ober is going up against the Texas Rangers. Bailey Ober is a pretty good pitcher. He's not going to blow you away, but he's a decent pitcher. In the perfect lineup yesterday, we talked about David Festa. Ended up having a nice start at 7,200. That was a pretty bad pitching slate. Robbie Ray ended up not being good. But you've got Bailey Ober in that same matchup against the Texas team that, look, for all intents and purposes, they have been hibernating through the bulk of this season offensively. I know they have a couple games where it's like this crazy offensive outburst, and then they just go back to falling asleep. So I understand why Bailey Ober would be number 2 in top 2 pitcher probability. And then Hayden Bird, the Songbird, getting another start at Coors. So that didn't work out great for Robbie Ray yesterday. But do we go back to Birdsong today in this spot? Now, I'll be completely honest with you. I think it's totally reasonable. No real concerns there. You have Michael Soroka, Patrick Corbin, Antonio Senzatella. So for those of you guys with eyes, I hope that's all of you. If not, I'm sorry. And at least you can listen, but I'll do my best to explain this to you so you can hear it. Hopefully you can hear. That would suck if you could do neither. And it'd be odd that you were listening to this. Well, not listening to this. It'd be odd that you somehow navigated to this show. But Antonio Senzatella, you have 6 pitchers, and Senzatella has a 2.8% top 2 pitcher probability, 1% ownership. He is literally the only pitcher getting, if we round up on Corbin, the only pitcher getting sub 2% or sub 20% ownership. That's it. The only one. Hardly encouraging. So that means we've got 5 pitchers here. You've got Corbin and Ober in 2 spots. I think you could play both of them. Obviously, I like Ober more. Michael Soroka against the Mets. The reason he has a 32% top 2 pitcher probability isn't because he's elite. It's because really outside of Kodai Senga, who's 10K, Bailey Ober's fallible. He's not elite. Birdsong's still pitching at Coors, right? So that's not exactly the spot where you're like, hey, man, elite spot here. No, it's a short slate. It's a Thursday. This is what we get. But it's 87 degrees with winds blowing out to left field at 6 miles per hour. This is not exactly premier pitching conditions for anybody, let alone Hayden Birdsong, who's good, but is still yet to show us anything to say like this guy could go out and drop 30 at Coors Field in the altitude. Soroka's been respectable, though. He's been okay. Strikeout stuff has been, again, somewhat admirable given what we've seen in the past. But you have 88. Let's just kind of break all of this down. Let me back up a second to give you guys kind of a full layout of the landscape today with these pitchers. Citi Field between Soroka and Kodai Senga, 88-degree temperatures at first pitch, 11-mile-per-hour winds blowing to right field. Minnesota and Texas, rain concerns. It looks like weather is going to impact this game mid-game. Not great. Now, our friend Kevin Roth believes that they should still get the whole game in. And if that's the case, okay, good. Colorado, San Francisco. Could be some weather there in the latter stages of this game. I'm less worried about that, but 87 degrees at Coors Field with a little bit of wind blowing out. So nothing looks good in that respect. Nothing. Nothing. So what do we do? I don't know. Hey, Kai Bowers. Good stuff, dude. Good stuff. Said, hey, Laffy, I hate playing two chalk pitchers, but I trusted the Sims, played the chalk, binked the late night relay throw for 20K the other night. Thanks for all yins to yins. Kai, appreciate you watching. I'll never understand the yins. Isn't that like a Pittsburgh? But I don't use y'all either. So maybe I use fellas or, hey, you guys. Yins. What is that like? What is that? A Pittsburgh thing? In Ohio? What is that? Pittsburgh, right? Yins. How did we ever get there? Pittsburgh, right? Yeah, Pittsburgh. How did we ever get to yins? It's an odd one, but very happy for you, Kai. So congratulations. And yeah, honestly, it isn't to say trust the Sims and never make any adjustments, because I don't think it's a terrible thing. If you are very, very, like if you're sitting there and you have real conviction that like this spot and Vegas is wrong here, and you've dug really deep into something, because a lot goes on under the hood in baseball, and we all know that, then I have no problem boosting a player, capping a stack, capping a pitcher. But you don't want to get too crazy is the thing. You don't want to get wild. And Fistula, you got to change that name, man. I love that you support the show. But if I'm going to be highlighting your comments, we got to do something about that. Removing ego and trusting the Sims is the way to go. It makes a big difference. It really does. Really does. So, 8 game, isn't Kevin on vacation? I don't know, maybe, but whoever's doing it. No, it looks like no, he's got it. Usually he puts some type of disclaimer in there that he's on vacation. But I can also read a radar too. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, of course you use y'all, Chris. You're from North Carolina. All you Southerners. Actually, there's a lot of people around me, and I'm in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, that use y'all. It just doesn't feel comfortable rolling off the tongue. I say, hey guys, how you doing? But yeah, let's take a look at this. Where's the top value? Nothing really distinguishable between any of these guys. You have 5 pitchers between 32 and 40%. Makes sense on this slate. And guys, also, for all of you curious, Yins, see, that just sounds wild. 55% ownership, 56 on Bailey Ober, 38 on Birdsong, 20 on Corbin. Look, 28 on Soroka, and 57 on Senga. We will find some leverage here. The question is, do we need to? Do we need to get different? I'm really curious to see what our Sims look like. I have not looked at our exposures yet for pitcher. I enjoy doing that with you guys on this show. I like to look at all of the data first, and then we can go back and kind of reverse engineer why we're getting to that stuff. And typically it all makes sense. But when you look at leverage, Corbin is clearly far and away the best leverage pitcher on this slate. Does that mean we're going to get a ton of him? No, but he's got a 31% top 2 pitcher probability, sub 20% ownership. We'll say 20% if we round up. Soroka's positively leveraged a bit. Same with the Songbird. Senzatella, but that doesn't count. Senga and Ober negatively leveraged, but not dramatically. That's not something that I think affects the Sims whatsoever, and I wouldn't be shocked if we still get a ton of those guys. I'll tell you what, though. Let's run our predictions here. This is always one of my most enjoyable parts of the show. Shannon, Laffy, I DM'd you, so I'll get to that in a second. Laffy, I DM'd you. Where is that? Where'd that daggone comment go? There it is. Lafe, DM'd you on X or Twitter, whatever it's called now earlier. You got any of those codes for MLB? Did I not? When did you DM me? I would have seen it. Let's see. Did you DM Laffy _D and not Laffy? Because there's some asshole that created an account in 2008, hasn't been active since 2009. For all I know, he has since perished. And I'm sure plenty of people are hitting that guy up. My handle, Shannon, is right under my name. DM me, say, yo, I watched the show. Can I get a code for MLB weekly, Sims, or monthly? Whichever one you want, and I'll get you a code. It's a great code. Some would say, I'm not saying this, but some would say it's the best code. Yeah, hit me up. I respond to all of those DMs. Aaron, I messaged you weeks ago. Do you have to pay for a response? What? I never got one from you. I respond to all of them. Make sure you're tweeting the right guy. So yeah, if you're tweeting the Laffy that is in like, I don't know. I think he's somewhere in Ireland or the UK or England. Unfortunately, that's not me. And you will not get a response. But I respond to everybody who hits me up. One thing that's weird, though, is I woke up today and I clicked on DMs and it was in like the message request for people you don't know. So the separate folder, there were 11 of them and then they all just disappeared. So I thought that like Twitter just removed them for spam, but it's possible they just, something happened. Yeah, Laffy _D, LOUGHY _D. If I don't respond, tweet me because that's really odd. But anyway, let's take a look at our exposures. As we always do, if you're new here, this is where we have some fun. Take a guess. This shouldn't be too hard. Try again, Aaron. For real, because I always respond to everybody. Ken, are you Irish? Yeah, I'm Irish. Probably like 70%. But I don't have the red hair and, you know, reddish eyebrows. But I guess not all of them do. Take a guess. Top 3 exposed pitchers that we've got in the Sims. Matthew, any weather concerns for the Twins game? Yeah, I mentioned that a moment ago. There's definitely concerns. But what are we supposed to do? Right? Like what's the alternative? I don't know what the alternative is, if we're being honest. Like the alternative is just not playing pitchers from that game. And now we have realistically 3 pitchers to choose from. You know? And if that's the case, oh, holy shit. They were filtering. It was filtering my messages. So here's one from Mark. Hey, just found out and wanted to say hi. I'm so wet. Care to play? Okay, understandable. Friends were one of the largest private equity firms. I think they auto did this. Here's another one. I'm looking for a friend who can chat with me and play games with me. Okay. Hot Susan. Oh, that's what happened. Aaron, see, I got that one. And Shannon, I got that one. I had to filter off of that because I have 100 different ones that are offering to show me free pussy. Now it makes sense. Okay. I'll click those links after the show. But let's take a look at the exposures here. I have not looked yet. We have not looked yet. Let's have some fun with this one. I'm going to say, and yeah, guys, I'll respond to all of them right after. Just DM me, yo, can I get the code? And I'll hook you up. It's a very good code. I'm going to say Ober. I think Ober has to be our highest exposed. Has to be. I apologize. I try and keep this a relatively family-friendly show. It isn't always. It isn't always. If your children are around, my apologies. I have 2 young girls as well. I wouldn't dare say that in front of them. But if they heard it, I'd say, I don't know. All right, I'm going Bailey Ober. Ober, Birdsong, Soroka. I'm going to say Senga is not in the top 3. I could be way off here, but let's see. Let's see. Colin, absolutely dying from I'll click those links after the show. I won't. But there used to be the ones that would just send you pictures in the responses for your tweets. Don't lie to me and tell me you didn't click show image. We've all done it. Oh, Rosie. We've all done it before. All right, let's go. I'm going Ober, Birdsong, Soroka. See our exposures here for the early. Okay, so I'm wrong, but not wildly off. Senga's our 4th most exposed. We've got the most Ober, 2nd most Birdsong, so the 1 and 2 is right. And then Patrick Corbin, number 3. I had a feeling. I should have said Corbin, knowing that leverage score was as good as it was. I outsmarted myself here. Willie K, Minnesota looks like a late start and play as far as I can tell from radar. Dude, I'll tell you what, I don't know. What I do know is that if we wanted to fade that, that means we're just basically getting a ton of Birdsong, Senga, and Soroka, because, I mean, we actually have a little bit of Senzatella here because it's a slate like this. So you'd get some Senzatella as well. But it would really suck because 2 of our 3 most exposed pitchers, 2 of them getting 45+%, are both from the same game. Now, fortunately, we still have over an hour and a half until that game starts, which is helpful. We have like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. So that's good. But yeah, that kind of sucks. Matthew, the rain gets worse throughout the day for Minnesota. 35% chance of game time, 60% an hour. Yeah, I know. Now, also, Matthew, if it's not heavy rain, they can pitch through this. If it's in the 6th inning and you were to get like 6 innings out of a pitcher, that's manageable too. You're going to have to make your own decisions on this one. In all likelihood, I won't say with certainty because we don't know, but if it gets closer to game time and it looks like it's going to be light rain and they want to get this game in, then, I'll probably just play pitchers here. But like, let's see what happens if we were to, this is what's fun about this. What happens if we cap Ober? And let's see what happens if we cap Ober to 0 along with Corbin. Damn it. All right. Hold on. Let me cap Ober and let me cap Corbin here and see what happens. Because if it ends up, oh, you know what? And let's do one more thing. I'm not going to go through everything and, remove every single player. That's something I would do in the projections. But if you remove Minnesota and Texas, now what do our pitcher exposures look like? 72% Birdsong, 66% Senga, 50% Soroka, and 11% Senzatella. Interesting. Antonio Senzatella, who we had 16% of earlier, actually goes down. So if this is an approach you want to take, unsurprisingly, you would just be getting a boatload of those 3 players. I have no caps on Birdsong, Senga, or Soroka. That is an unadulterated run of the Sims after you remove those other guys. But I think they try and play. I think they're going to try and play. So let's clear out. I want to clear out these exposure caps. I don't want to have anything that isn't exactly the way it was when we ran it. But now you see what that would look like. Let me see if we're back to where we were. Yep, we're back to where we were. So Soroka we're actually getting the least of. We would end up getting a ton of him otherwise. And it's an early game. So you might just, you know what? What might happen? This is what we don't want to happen, because Devin said they have all day and both teams travel for games tomorrow. You're right, Devin, but here's the concern. The concern isn't that they don't have all day to get the game in. The concern is they try to start the game at 1 o'clock, right? Or I guess it would be what, 12:10 there. But you get my point. 1 o'clock Eastern time, 1 o'clock normal person time. You would assume that if they try and get it in there and then it gets delayed in like the 4th inning, that would suck. If they were just going to delay it until they're good to play, fine. We have nothing to worry about. But isn't it supposed to rain for the majority of the day? I don't know. I'll make a decision on that later. You guys see what it would look like with or without them. You'll see what it looks like with or without. So, yeah. All right. Stacks. Let's do stacks. And as always, just for everybody, maybe these guys hadn't watched the show since I shouted them out. Shout out to the fellas over the last week. Our boy 8Game, I saw you in there, dude. Joined Stokastic Core Sims yesterday morning and immediately started working on lineups while watching Laffy do the strategy show. Hey, now I'm in the Hall of Fame. Time to have a great vacation. 20K. First place on that main slate. The commish with 50K. This is just from what? The 8th? So 4 days ago. D, only my second day using the Sims. This is from the 8th as well. Took down the Minimax. Our boy Elway's Army took down the Minimax yesterday. We've just had some monsters. These are just the last week. Go back to June 5th, I think this was. Our boy Mark, 17.5. He signed up using the link join. Signed up on Chalkboard, and then binked for 17.5. So, yeah, if you want to do it that way, you can always DM me, ask me for a code on Instagram or on Twitter, or click that link in the description. Sign up where it says sign up with any of our sportsbook partners. Click that link. Click claim offer on whichever of these you want. Even if you're in a non-legal betting state, we've got all of these pick'em sites as well. Use as many as you want. Every single one of them equals a free month of The Sims. You heard that. All you're doing is literally clicking claim offer, making a minimum deposit, which is usually $5 or $10, making a bet or setting a lineup for these pick'ems. And then after that settles, just email us, support@stokastic.com. Send us an email with a screenshot of your first settled bet and a screenshot of your welcome email and say which ones you want. If you want a free month of MLB Sims and you signed up on 2 books and you want a free month of PGA Sims, you got it. You signed up on 4 books, you want PGA, MLB, NASCAR, and MMA, you got it. It's that simple. You could truly turn, let's say, $25 or $30 into 5 months of The Sims, which is well over $500 if you were to be paying out of pocket. So that's one great way to do it. Or hit me up in the DMs and I'll get to you. Now that I turn that filter off, I get to click some good links and respond to you guys with some codes to get in on a week or a month of The Sims. It's going to be a fun afternoon. All right, stack exposure. Mets are 32% against Soroka. Woo! So you know what that means. 19% San Francisco, but we're getting a ton of San Francisco. Well, not a ton. 9% San Francisco 4-mans. We're actually below the field on the Giants today. That's a little bit scary. Interesting. All right, well, it's not like we aren't getting any for what it's worth, but we're under the field. Still, 19, 20, let's say 28, like 37% Giant stacks, but a lot of Mets against Soroka. And then, interestingly enough, a lot less of every other team. So here's one thing you can do. If you go in the lineups, if you're new with the Sims and you're still figuring them out, they're very easy. And if you want, hit me up and I'll always send you a tutorial video over that Greg did. It's very good and it's short and you'll know everything you need to know about them when you get started. So don't ever worry like, man, I haven't used these tools before. Is there a learning curve? Nah, you'd be fine. Stack exposure. 59% Mets, 37% Giants, 21% Rockies, 14% Minnesota, 11% Washington against Senga, and only 7% Texas against Bailey Ober. Ooh. All right. All right. Jake, what's up, Jake? That Senzatella price point does a lot on a 3-gamer. Yeah, it does. I mean, it's still Senzatella, but it does. We're getting a little bit of him. Matter of fact, 16%. That's not nothing. Cho called him. Hey, what's up, brother? So that's what we're looking at here. A lot of Mets. Good amount of Giants. 20+% Rockies. Not bad. Who do we have the most 3-man stacks? Rockies, as a matter of fact. I'm fine with that. It's a 3-game slate. Brandon Wallace, what's up, Brandon? Soroka did me good last time. Yeah, I mean, look, he's had a few really solid games. Granted, that was versus Texas. Hard to go back to that well again today, but leverage should be huge if it hits. Yeah, he's still getting some ownership, though, right? Soroka's still getting, I think, like the 3rd or 4th most ownership on the slate. 4th, sorry, 28%. It's not nothing, but it's not crazy. It's not Senga or Ober ownership. I mean, realistically, the guy getting nothing is Senzatella. The best leverage spot, according to the top pitchers tool, which this is included with the sim, same with the top stacks. All of our MLB tools are included. Same with the single lineup sim, which we built some lineups out with yesterday. But yeah, it's Corbin's the highest leverage option right now. That's why we've got a lot of them. What do we have? 46%, 3rd highest exposed pitcher, essentially 2nd along with Birdsong. Hell, you could say he's 1st with Ober. 52, 49, 46. Those guys are all in the same neighborhood. Chris, if you think the Giants will fail, wouldn't playing Senzatella be the way to go? Not necessarily. I mean, we still have a lot of Giants, but does that mean, okay, so the answer to your question is maybe, but if the Giants fail as a stack, does that mean Senzatella is going to have a good game? Absolutely not. Like he came in relief as the long guy last week. He threw 84 pitches. He went 4 innings, no earned, but he gave up 4 walks, 3 hits, 2 strikeouts, and had less than 9 fantasy points. So what I'm saying, like, could Senzatella go 5 innings with 1 run earned today? Yeah, he could. At 4,100, could that be worthwhile? Sure. But he has an 11% strikeout rate, which is insane. He has a 4% K minus BB rate, which is, I mean, it's genuinely outrageous that he's still around. Right? That's crazy. Crazy stuff. Somehow he has a 4.3 xFIP at home this year. Don't ask me to explain that one. But yeah, at 4,100, if you got some Senzatella, it's not nuts. Look, we have 16%. Here, we can look at what our Senzatella lineups look like. Let's see. And again, if you're a Sims user, check this out. So click on these 3 vertical dots here. You can also do it over in lineup filters. It doesn't matter where you want to do it. But lineup contains Senzatella, right? And then if we do that, this will give us all of our lineups that have Senzatella. Hold on a second. And it's Mets Rockies 5-2, 5-2 Mets Rockies, 5-3 Mets Rockies, 3-2-2 Twins Mets Rangers, 4-4 Mets Rockies, 5-3 Mets Rockies, 5-2 Mets. See a theme here? A lot of Mets Rockies. Rockies secondary stack. It's actually wild to me. Do we not have a single primary Giant stack with Senzatella? So, all right, then let me clear this. What do the pitchers look like with our Giant stacks? Because we have a lot of them. Let's see. I did not expect that at all. So Giant stacks are Birdsong Corbin, Soroka Corbin, Birdsong Corbin, Ober Birdsong Soroka, Birdsong Corbin. See, this is why it's helpful to look through some of this. See what you're getting. See what pitcher combinations get you to. See what certain stacks are forcing you into with the pitcher combinations, right? I didn't expect that. If you had asked me, obviously I'm a moron that I wasn't even thinking. I didn't look at comments. I'm sure some of you mentioned this. We're not getting San Francisco because they're playing against Senzatella. Apologies. My brain, I short-circuited for a moment. That would make sense now. But it actually does bring up a point of like, if San Francisco is one of the best stacks and arguably the best stack, is it worth getting to a lot of Senzatella? No, but despite all of my stupidity over the last 1 minute, what I can say to kind of backtrack and save face on this one is that the Mets are clearly the priority stack in Senzatella lineups. We can say that with certainty, right? That they are the unquestioned top stack in those lineups. So there's that. Also, if you look at the top simmed ROI lineups, isn't that wild that the top 6 of them are Senzatella lineups? Likely just because this guy's getting 1% ownership. 1% ownership on a slate like this is nuts, no matter how bad you are. So nobody's going to feel good about it. Nobody's going to like it. But there are some lineups that spit out Senzatella with Met stacks. And my guess is that not a lot of people are going to be there. So you look at the ownership sum, the sum of ownership in these lineups, it's all sub 200. If I filter by the highest owned lineups, what does it look like? Yeah, look, 3 games, like 347, 346. So those are really low owned. That makes sense. All right, let's take a look at some homers here. And for any of you guys interested in jumping in on the Portfolio EV tools, highly recommend you do it. All of the MLB bets throughout the season. Oh, we got a home run bet right here. Royce Lewis, 7-1 on DraftKings. That's only been up for 12 minutes. That's going to move. Very nice. ESPN, you got the same odds as well. Using a market-based approach here. Find the discrepancies in the market, capitalize, jump on them before they move. That's the play. Circa, sharp book, plus 550. FanDuel at 6-1. Nice spot for Royce Lewis at that price, plus 700. Links in the description if you ever wanted to check this out for free. Your first week is completely on us. You pay nothing. You don't pay a single cent. And you can create all of your portfolios the way you want, even if you just wanted to create one. Like I have a snipe session portfolio here that on a show I do on Twitter that adds everything in. Ariel Atkins, 3-pointers. I've been betting a ton of WNBA despite not knowing anything about the sport. Like this is plus 162 over 1.5 threes on FanDuel. This will move for sure. Look at these other books, plus 115, plus 110. Watch, if I click track this bet, typically what I would do is I would just click bet and it adds it directly into my bet slip from my app in the phone. But then like if you go into my bets here, you'll see the closing line value you're getting because there's no better indicator of closing line value or of a winning better long-term than closing line value. So you can see all of your bets that are beating closing line value, how much they're beating it by. Really sick tool, man. You don't have to pay a cent for it for the first week. So I would recommend checking it out. If you're a DFS player, no reason you shouldn't also be betting, honestly. Even though we all love DFS, it's my first love as well, and I'll never stop playing. There's something about betting and being able to kind of mindlessly place these bets that goes a really long way. In a sense, it's like passive income. You're going to have losing days, but over the long term, if you do it right with a market-based approach, getting in on bets that have a higher likelihood of winning than the odds we're getting from the sportsbook, you're going to end up winning more than you lose. All right, so Royce Lewis is our homer play here, 7-1 on DraftKings. I'll bet that as soon as this show's over. Vinny P on ESPN at 8-1. Looks like a good spot there. Miguel Vargas, 8-1. Anything else? Jack Caglione, 11-1 on DraftKings. That's always a fun one. Looks like we got a good amount of Kansas City spots today as well. Anyway, appreciate you guys. You are the best. Let's go have a good day. Let's have ourselves a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Let's take this in to Friday, crush as we head into the weekend. What do you say? What do you say? I'm going to respond to all those DMs now that were flagged as spam. I know they're not spam. Some of them were spam, but not those. I have like 50 of them. So let me go through all of that. You guys have an awesome day. Enjoy the rest of it. I will see you back here tomorrow, 11 Eastern, as always, right here on the MLB Strategy Show. Appreciate the support as always. And let's win some money. Remember, if you're not rocking the Stokastic avatar, be wise and do so. Stokastic.com/HOF. Use it wherever it is you play. Because if you finish top 3 in any field of 5,000 or more, even if it's like a 10-cent entry, you're getting a free month of Sims Max, which is like, what, $200 package or something like that. And if you win twice, you get another one plus a free week. You win 3 times, you get Sims All Access, 500 plus value. And any 20K plus win gets you that beautiful ring in the display case. Michael, happy Father's Day. Oh, Father's Day is this weekend. You're right. Thanks, brother. That's nice of you. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow and head into the weekend on a high note. Bye-bye.